Algebra 2. We're going to be jumping into a section that is not reviewed from Algebra 1, so please watch this video, or at least part of it. There are two parts. The second part especially you'll need to watch, okay? And the first. So this is an important section. We're going to be finding determinants of matrix, and I'm going to put this section in this lesson into two parts. I'm going to put it in a matrix that's a 2 by 2. Okay, so to find the determinant, and another way the book will ask is to evaluate a matrix, it will look like the following. So I'm going to write this matrix starting in element 1, 1, so A, B, C, D. So the determinant, you're going to multiply A times B, and you're going to subtract C times, whoops, I wrote that wrong. A times C, oh my goodness. Seriously, Michelle? Sorry, A times D minus C times B. Forgive me. So you're multiplying diagonally. So you're taking the product of the first diagonal, and you're going to subtract the product of the second. So the first diagonal minus the product of the second. Be really, really careful with your negatives. So number 1, find the determinant of -4 and 7, and this diagonal is -3 and 2. So here we go. I'll use my highlighters if that helps. So -4 times 7 minus, and so sorry, this is green. And now I'm going to do the second diagonal, 2 times -3. So that gives me -28 minus -6, which equals -28 plus 6, which equals -22. So the answer would simply be -22. Next one. And for this one, I'm going to use the other words, evaluate. So you're used to, if they ask you to find the determinant or they ask you to evaluate, you're going to do the same thing. So I just want you to be aware. So -7, +5, the bottom row is 3, -4. Okay? Oh, sorry, I didn't highlight the top. So let's start with the first. -7 times -4 minus second diagonal, which is parentheses 3 times 5. Now I put it in parentheses so that we don't get confused between the difference between the subtraction versus a negative number inside. Okay, so for this one, a -7 times a -4 gives me a +28 minus 15, which is 13. Next one. Now feel free to pause the video, okay? So for this one, I'm going to put the same vocabulary, evaluate, 0, 12, -4, -3. Okay, so I keep forgetting to use the highlighter. So this was the yellow diagonal, and this was the green diagonal. So in this one, I'm not going to keep highlighting. I think you get, I'm going to do 0 times -3 minus -4 times 12. So that gives me 0 times anything is 0 minus -4 times 12 is -48, which equals a +48, right? Because a minus and negative becomes positive. Okay? Number 4, solve for x. So here is x plus 4 and 3 in the first row. The next row is 2 and 4 equals 18. Now I'm going to solve this using the determinant. So you're going to see one like this in your homework and on your test. So let's set it up. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the determinant or evaluate that. So that would be the product of this column. So x plus 4 times 4 minus, that's the green part. Now I'm going to do this diagonal. So 2 times 3. And they're saying all of that equals 18. Okay, so I have 4x plus 16 minus 2 times 3, which is 6, equals 18. So I'm going to combine like terms. Don't do the opposite, just combine. So 4x plus 10 equals 18. Subtract 10, so 18 minus 10 is 8. Divide, and x equals 2. Okay? So let's jump into our lesson practice. Remember, you can pause and try it yourself, and then push play and see if you've got the same answer as me. Let me grab the book really quick. All right, so lesson 14, lesson practice is on page 97. And you're going to see the different vocabulary. So for part A, it asks us to evaluate the following. First row is 1, -6. The next row is 0, 8. Okay, so pause the video, try it yourself, and then check with me. So 1 times 8 minus 0 times -6 equals 8 minus 0, right? 0 times -6 is 0. So I got an answer of 8. Part B says to find x. So it says, first row, x minus 7, 8. Next row is -1, -5, equals 23. So here we go. -5 times x minus 7 minus -1 times a positive 8. They're saying this must equal, 23, not 28. Okay, so I multiplied this diagonal, then this diagonal. Now I'm going to distribute. So -5x plus 35 minus -1, I don't need a positive right here. -1 times 8 is -8, and they're saying that equals 23. I'm going to combine like terms, so -5x. 35 plus 8 is 43, equals -23. I'm going to subtract, so 23 minus 43, I got, wait, why do I have a negative over here? Silly goosey. 23. Yeah, I am just making mistakes left and right. Subtract 43 and I got -20. Divide by -5. And x equals a positive 4. Okay. Moving on. Let me turn page. Whoa. Sorry about that. All right, so let's move on to the next portion of these notes, and this is the tougher part. So I'm going to teach you only one method, but now we're going to go over a 3x3 matrix. Now the method is different, and so please stay with me while we do this. Okay, so I'm just going to do an example with you. That is probably the easiest way to do this. Okay, so on a 3x3 matrix, here's the first one. We're going to find the determinant for the following matrix. Are you ready? Okay, now remember, this is a 3x3. So I'm going to have 3 rows. The top row is 3, -2, 1. The middle row is -1, 4, and 10. And the next row is 2, -3, and 5. Okay, I'm going to write the steps on the side. So, step 1. Copy the first 2 columns and write them on the right. Okay, so here we go. Here are the first 2 columns. I'm going to copy them and write them here. Okay, so first column is 3, -1, 2, -2, 4, -3. Okay, now I'm going to erase these because I'm going to need them. All right, now we're going to find the product of our diagonals. Find product of diagonals containing 3 numbers. So, watch this. So I'm starting with the top left. I like to do the top left. And I'm going to find the product of these. Okay? And if it helps, I just wanted to show these are the first 2 columns. Okay, so here we go. The product, 3 times 4 times 5. And I'm going to write the product right underneath. 3 times 4 times 5. I changed my notes. If you're wondering why I erased, it's because I know that you're going to be seeing this and I want to make the most sense. So like I want people to be able to see that these were the columns that I copied. Maybe I'll write that. Okay, so 3 times 4 times 5 gives me 60. Next number at the top, find the product working down in your diagonal. So -2 times 10 is -20 times 2. And I'm going to just record my answer. It's -40. Next diagonal, 1 times -1 is -1 times -3. And that gives me a +3. And then I'm going to find that sum. So then I'm going to find the sum of products. So 60 minus 40 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23. Now let's start with the bottom. So if that helps, right, this matches there. Now I'm going to work up. So 2 times 4, so bottom left, 2 times 4 times 1. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. Okay, so now I'm working my way up. Now, next number, -3 times 10 is -30 times 3 gives me -90. The next diagonal. Last, 5 times -1 is -5. -5 times -2 is +10. Find the sum. 8 minus 90 plus 10. Whoops. And I got -72. The last step is the bottom result minus the top result. Okay, so 23 minus the top. Don't just put 23 minus 72. 23 minus the top gives me 23 plus 72, which gives me 95. Let's do another one. Using our steps, doing it just the way we did the first one. So here I'm going to write my rows 7, 3, -5, -2, 1, 8, 4, -6, and 0. Okay, so here we go. Remember, the first thing we're going to do is copy the first two columns. So I'm copying 7, -2, and 4. Next column, remember columns are up, down, 3, 1, -6. Now for those of you who are like, oh, this looks hard and you just passed it, yeah, that's not going to help your grade. Watch the video, pause it, slow it down, rewind it, keep doing it till you've got it. Now we're going to multiply our diagonals. So starting with the top number, I'm going to find the product of 7 times 1 times 0. 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 0 is 0. Next diagonal, 3 times 8 times 4 gives me a positive 96. Last diagonal, -5 times -2 is positive 10, times -60 times -6 gives me -60. And I'm going to find that sum. 0 plus 96 minus 60 gives me 36. Okay, now I'm going to work from the bottom up. 4 times 1 times -5 is -20. All we're doing is multiplying and adding. -6 times 8 times 7. I got -336. Last diagonal, 0 times 2 is 0, times 3 is also, it's 0 times that, which is 0, 0 times that, which is 0. Okay. So I'm going to draw a line just so it separates. Find the sum of this. -20 minus 336 is -356. Remember, it's the bottom number minus the top number, which gives me a positive, 2 negatives. So if I add those together, I get 392. All right, so we are going to use this to find the area of a triangle. So here we go. And I don't have a ruler next to me, if I drew a triangle, okay, just pretend here's my triangle. We're going to use this, and this is eventually on a test. We're going to use what we've been doing to find the area of a triangle. So the formula, here's the formula. It's 1/2 times the absolute value, because area is positive, of your first pair of coordinates, and 1, that's the first column, the second pair of coordinates, and 1, and the third pair of coordinates, and 1. That will equal the area of your triangle. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see this. Sorry about that. So I'm going to give this triangle some coordinates. So I'm going to say this point here is -2, -2. This point here is 3, 5. Sorry, I had to look at my notes. And here is 6, -3. Okay, so let's work it out. So I'm going to do 1/2 times my coordinates. Now, it doesn't matter which pair of coordinates you use first. So I'm just going to grab the top. So I'm going to, remember we write it going down in a column. So we start with x, which is 3, then 5, and we always end with 1. Next pair of points, 6, negative 3, 1. Always start with x and work your way down. Last pair, negative 2, and 1. So I'm going to ignore the 1/2 for now, and I'm going to copy those first two columns. So 3, 5, 1, 6, negative 3, 1. Now I should preface this with the book does go over a different method for evaluating a 3x3, but this method is faster. So that's why I'm teaching you this method. So the product of this first is negative 9. The product of this diagonal is negative 12. And the product of this diagonal is negative 10. Those are all negative. The sum is negative 31. Okay, the top diagonals, I get positive 6. The next diagonal is negative 6. And the last one is a positive 30. So I end up with 30. Now, this is where I'm going to bring in the 1/2 times the absolute value of the bottom minus the top. So 1/2 times negative 61 equals 1/2 times positive 61, because I need the absolute value, and I get 30.5 square units. So the only difference between this problem and the two we did above here is that we cut our answer in half. Okay? So let's go back to lesson practice and let's finish it. So page 97, part C. It asks us to find the determinant of the following matrix. So they gave me, I don't know why I made that so large, 5, negative 9, and negative 5. Negative 5, negative 3, and 8. 2, negative 8, negative 1. I didn't need to make that as large. Okay, so here we go. Copy the first two columns. So 5, negative 5, 2, negative 9, negative 3, negative 8. Notice I copied the first two columns. If you'd like, pause, find your diagonals. So I'm going to highlight, I'm going to find these three first. So 5 times negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 15. Negative 9 times 8 times 2 is negative 144. Negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 8 is negative 200. And that gives me negative 329. Right? Next diagonals. 2 times negative 3 times negative 5 should be positive 30. The next diagonal should be negative 320. And the final diagonal is minus 45. And if you find that sum, I found negative 335. Remember, it's the bottom number minus the top number. Those become a positive, so negative 329 plus 335 equals 6. All right, D. I'm going to do this next one, but I'm going to try to hurry so that this video isn't forever long. Alright, so starting with copying the first two columns. So negative 4, 9, 7, 2, 3, negative 1. So the first three diagonals are here. Their products are 24, negative 56, and negative 63. Their sum is negative 95. The next set of diagonals, remember you can pause the video and check your work. I got 147 minus 16 minus 36, which gave me 95. I know those look the same, but remember it's the bottom minus the top, which equals negative 190. All right, it says using a calculator, but you have to do it by hand. And I'm just going to write the answer so you can check your work. You should get, well, anyways, it says use a calculator. Don't use a calculator. Answer is, you should get negative 825. Okay, F, they'd like us to find the area of the triangle. So I'm going to write my coordinates. The coordinates are negative 2, 3, negative 3, 2, and 3, 1. So the area equals 1/2 times the absolute value of our determinant. So I'm going to start with the first pair, and I'm going to write it going down. So negative 2, 3, 1. Negative 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 1. Then we're going to find, well, I have to copy the first two columns. So negative 2, 3, 1, negative 3, 2, 1. And let's find those first three diagonals. So I got negative 4 minus 3 plus 9. For those three diagonals, their sum is 2. For the top three, I've got 6, negative 2, and negative 9. And that sum is negative 5. So 1/2 times the absolute value of the bottom minus the top equals 1/2 times 7, which equals 3.5 square units. And that completes that section. If you have any questions, just let me know. Hello. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to pause this.